Welcome to Louisiana Heartbeats. I'm Sudie Landry, your host today. And today we're going to be sharing a special story of the story behind why the American flag is folded into triangles. I am proud to be an American. And with us today we have Rudy Borg Sr., who's going to share that story and other good, interesting information. Welcome to the show, Rudy.
Good afternoon, Sudie, and thank you very much. Along with me this afternoon to explain and to display and to demonstrate the folding of the U.S. flag is our American Legion Post 241's commander, Dave Touchette, to my right, and our vice commander, Alan Picard, to my left.
And welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being part of this. What's this about? I know there's a lot of people like me that do not know the true story.
You know, Sudie, most people go to funerals and go to functions when the flag is folded. And many of them walk away wondering, why did they fold that flag that way? What is the significance? What is the meaning? And there is a significance and a meaning for each of the folds. There are 13 folds, precise folds for the flag of our United States of America. And today we would like to explain each of the folds while we do them.
That's going to be wonderful. Let's roll.
All right. Have you ever wondered why the flag of the United States of America is folded in 13 different ways? Have you ever wondered why the flag is lowered all the way down to be brought back up at half-mast? Do you know why the flag is folded into triangular shape? Today we would like to explain to you exactly that. Today we are going to go through the first portion explaining each of the 13 folds of our flag, the flag of the United States of America. The first fold of our flag is the symbol of life. It is folded in half. The second fold is the symbol of our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of our veterans, departing our ranks, who gave a portion of their lives for the defense of our country to obtain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature. For as American citizens trusting in God, it is in Him we turn to in times of peace, as well in times of war, for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, for in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our hearts that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all her enemies, whether they be found within or without our borders of our republic. The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadows of death, that we might see the light of day, and to honor Mother, for whom it lies on Mother's Day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood, for it has been through their faith, their love, loyalty, and devotion that we, the character of the men and women who have made this country great, has been molded. The 10th fold is a tribute to the Father, for He too has given His sons and daughters for the defense of our country, since they were firstborn. The 11th fold, in the eyes of Hebrew citizens, represent the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon, and glorifies in their eyes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold, in the eyes of Christian citizens, represent an emblem of eternity and glorifies, in their eyes, God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. When the flag is completely folded and the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our nation's motto, "In God we trust," we fold it in Come on, David, fold it here. We fold it and tuck it in. It takes on the appearance of the cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served with General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who were followed by their comrades and shipmates into the armed forces of the United States of America, preserving for us the rights and privileges and freedom we enjoy today. Ladies and gentlemen, the next time you see the flag folded in such a ceremony, you will at least have an understanding why our flag is folded the way it is, the history behind the flag. Most people do not know that the flag is draped over a coffin of a fallen veteran, a comrade. Other than that, we also remember those law enforcement officers and firemen as well, with the folding of the flag in the same manner. The flag is always presented to the next of kin, more often likely than not, a son, a daughter, or a spouse. Nowadays, we're seeing many of them presented to the family members, such as the father and the mother. For them, we say, for the sacrifices of your son or daughter in the defense of our country, this great nation, we present to you the flags of our country. So at the next ceremony, when you see it, and you give the proper respect that it is due, you will at least have a brief understanding why and how we folded the flag in the 13 different folds. Sully, I'd like to thank you for allowing us this time to do this. But there was a little thing I wanted to do or to read to you that was given to me by an old veteran. And it says, cost of our flag, not counted in money. How much did the flag cost? Most of us always think in dollars and cents. But if we wanted the real answer to that question, we have to go back past many, many wars and the bloodshed of our comrades in arms who fought and defended this great nation and the symbol of our country, the U.S. flag. We could ask the soldiers, we could ask the generals, we could constantly solve that ever-present death and destruction. I am sure that they could tell us how much the flag cost. For as a combat veteran, I know it cost me 8 dear friends. So when you see it, do not think of it as dollars and cents. Think of it as sacrifice, the ultimate, the most extreme dedication of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, who have paid the ultimate so that we today could be here to explain to you how we fold the U.S. flag.
Rudy, we really appreciate you sharing this with us. We still have quite a bit of time left. And as you were going through all of this, that's some facts that I didn't know. I even was writing down the 13 ways and why you fold the flag.
I'll give you a copy.
Thank you. I was hoping you would say that too, but just in case, I decided to write my notes. Let's talk about where you have been recently sharing the story of these fallen veterans. Your heart and your passion is not just to tell the people the story of the American flag, but to share what you're doing today in keeping everything going and alive and strong in the American way.
It's not just I, it's a we.
That's right.
You know, many people could stand up and say, I did this and I did that. However, when you look in the background, there was someone else who was helping, assisting, or actually doing it. The manual labor, that is.
That's right.
So therefore, we like to say it's a we project. There is no I in we. However, we, the veterans groups, often wonder where we would be if someone did not take up the helm and start. So yes, you know, some of us have taken it up sooner than others. We do have, as you know right now, we're working on the Acadiana Coalition of Veterans, Southwest Veterans Affairs, in helping to expedite the bringing of our VA clinic, a super multi-services VA clinic to Lafayette, Louisiana.
I do know a little bit about that, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that. And if we're fortunate, you will keep inviting us to go and film some of these events so that people can be made aware that it doesn't just stop with a television show.
Well, we
This
hope
is a passion, this is a mission.
it is more than a mission
All
for
right.
us.
Okay,
It is,
all
it
the
is
key
a
words.
dedication and a life for us to be able to do this, because there are many veterans who are less fortunate than we.
That's right.
When we brought the first clinic here, most people were not as optimistic as myself and a few other people when we started fighting to try to bring the VA clinic in Lafayette. We did not accept the word no. We did not accept the word that you did not have enough veterans that wanted to be serviced in the Lafayette community. What we heard was, well, if you can prove there's enough veterans, if you can show us that the veterans are willing to register and go to the Lafayette Clinic, then we were told, if you can get at least 1,500 to 2,000 veterans that are willing to go to the Lafayette Clinic, we would be more than happy to look at bringing a clinic to Lafayette.
Rudy, let's kind of step back in time a little bit. Now, everyone has enjoyed us and you sharing the folding and the story of the American flag. What brought you to this point? Let's share the different forces that you were part of and how you got to this point, and why are you so dedicated in being a part of this?
Well, I'm just one of many, many veterans who came home with the false ideals that someone was going to be here to help us. Mm-hmm. I spent 21 and a half years in the Army, and I got injured in Germany, compounded the injuries that I received in Vietnam. I was put out to service. At Walter Reed, after they did the last surgery, they told me that, well, we're going to send you home. There's going to be a person there that's going to help you. Oh, they're going to help you find jobs. They're going to explain all your benefits. They're going to do this. They're going to do all these great things for us. Well, when my wife and my children and I came home, after about 4 trips to the Department of Labor, I found out that, yes, we did, in fact, have a veterans service counselor, but it seemed like he was working part-time. Mm. So I made a promise to myself that other veterans coming behind me would at least receive a little bit more knowledge and assistance than I got when I came home. And that's why I started learning about the benefits, the process, how do you go about finding jobs. And yes, I was fortunate that 14 months after I got out of service, the governor and the Secretary of Labor gave me a plaque stating that I was the Employee of the Year for hiring more veterans in the state of Louisiana. And when I received the plaque, I told them they made a mistake because I was not an employer. I was a veteran helping veterans.
Veteran helping veterans. That's what this is all about.
Yes.
It's not, like you said, a I thing. It's a we thing. It's a teamwork. It's. For example, the 2 gentlemen that are with us today. I mean, they're here. They're part of this because obviously they're on the same page as you. They have the same desires to be a part of whatever it's going to take to get the word out there and share with people. Just because you have served your time doesn't mean it's over. Just a new season. So
It's just a new beginning.
that's right, a new beginning, new season. I like saying all these other words, and then you trigger and you go back to go, it's not a I thing, it's a we thing, it's not a vision thing, it's a,
Well, it is a vision.
It's a vision, but it's also.
But we always look for it to become a reality.
There you go, there you go.
And we were upset when they had to rebid out the clinic for Lafayette and Lake Charles because it put a two and a half year deferment on us getting extra services and multi-services. But the coalition that we have made up of veterans that care as much as I do and that work as hard, if not harder than I.
Let's talk a little bit more about your post and the different things that you're involved in and the different plans you have possibly.
Oh, yes, we can do that right now. I'd like to tell everyone that Acadiana American Legion Post is made up of all Acadiana area veterans who wish to join. We take in all veterans of all colors, races, and creeds, providing that they do have an honorable discharge, or that they served in the Army and got a medical discharge, such as I. We are involved in Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Flag Day, Armed Forces Day. I'm proud to say that in conjunction with the Army Recruiting Command and the other recruiting officers in Lafayette was the 3rd in the state of Louisiana to host a function which you and Danny came and filmed for us.
That was awesome.
And we titled it Our Community Salutes. What it is that we don't want to wait for these young men and women who serve our country to get out of the service to become veterans. We want them to know that the veterans here, if there is a need for them, that we are here to help them now while they're serving our country, as well as when they get out. So we did our community salutes, and we did it at the Petroleum Club, which someone that did the first one in New Orleans made a comment to me, and he said, you had to outdo us, huh? It was not a fact of trying to outdo. It was a fact that we wanted to show these young men and women who are enlisting in the armed forces, who are getting ready to go into harm's way. You can hear about the winding down of Afghanistan, but you also hear about all our fellow comrades in arms and uniforms that are being killed by our coalition forces. So therefore, we want them to know that we're going to be here to help them. And we wanted to give them the proper send-off by giving it at a very nice place so that their parents could come see. And we had Congressman Bustani come there and thank them for their serving in their service. We had the recruiting command commander come there and welcome not only the Army enlistees, but all the armed forces. But more than that, we had a young captain, I should say major, come here. And Mr. Saloon, who is still serving in the Army Reserves today, did the oath of enlistment to those 118 young men and women who graduated from Lafayette area schools this year, in Acadiana area schools.
That's right.
We took in 7 parishes.
Right.
Of the 7 parishes, 118 showed up that day to take the oath of enlistment by one of their own.
I want to add something to it. I was not the one behind the camera. Our friend, that cameraman, was doing all that work. But I was, there you go, Danny was doing what he needed. He specializes in. I was in the audience, and I couldn't help but just watch as this event was taking place. And it was the first time I'd ever seen anything that was going to recognize these young people who not only just graduated, but also committed to going into and fighting for our country, and they were there that day. We were blessed as we were eating our meal at another location that one of those same people sat at a table with me, which I never got back with you, and she was ready to go in the service, and she was so tired, and she really was having a rough morning. But I brought up what, we had done there, and it's like that one flicker of joy in her eye came up, and she was saying how, wow, y'all were filming all that? I said, there is nothing else that's ever taken place that I know of. But I want to tell you that it was so appreciated. Even, I don't remember which event came first, but I do know that I've run into that same little girl, and she did take off, and but she appreciated being recognized and appreciated because she had no family. Mm-hmm. And the Army is now her family.
Well, that day, if you remember, we had 2 high schools in UL that had graduation ceremonies there.
That's right.
And out of 132 young men and women, we had 118 show up.
That was it. That was it.
It was really a good program.
I hope you're going to continue this yearly because this was really amazing,
If I may say, ladies and gentlemen out there, that we will be doing it again. And I really have to take my hat off to all the veteran organizations in our community, Sudi, because you know what? When I heard about it, it was about 6 weeks before we actually did ours. And someone told me, yep, we're first from the top this time and not first from the bottom, okay? And I said, well, are there any other places doing it? Mm-mm. And he said, well, New Orleans is the first. I said, well, Lafayette's going to be the second.
There you go.
Well, unfortunately, Lafayette wound up being the third because Baton Rouge did it the day before us. But I'm proud to say that our community of Acadiana and Lafayette is the third from the top of 64 parishes that achieved something. And the other 2 functions did not say they were going to do it on an annual basis. But I had made a pledge that I will, maybe not always at the Petroleum Club, but my fingers, my toes, and my feet are crossed, that we can always receive enough funds to be able to give those young men and women the proper send-off. And a place like the Petroleum Club is the best place to do
Well,
this.
that was a wonderful beginning, and I look forward to seeing how it's going to get bigger and bigger. in honor of these people that are going out to stand for this American flag. And
We
some
can
will
only-
give their lives.
We can only do that, Sudi, if those people out there will help us.
There you go.
Now, there's another thing we're doing, and I'd like to let everyone know that most people don't realize. Of course, it's getting a lot of popularity, Veterans Park. On
Yes, I'm so
Fufale.
glad you brought that up. I was going to bring that up.
Veterans Park has a Vietnam Veterans Monument there. It has a Korean War Monument there. It has a Armed Forces Monument there. And this past Veterans Day, we dedicated and honored the newest monument, our Combat Wounded Veterans Monument, the Purple Heart Monument. And if you want to see something that is beautiful and magnificent, then you need to go there and look at that. Now, what we are planning on doing, and this is something that you had my email address, they can let me know, is that we are selling, the Purple Heart chapter is selling bricks with the veteran's name on it, with the veteran's date of service, branch of service, and the date he was wounded, providing that we get the form returned back to us with a $50 check or money order and proof that that veteran was actually wounded in combat.
Okay,
So
let
that's
me
the-
interject something real quick. First of all, if anyone is interested in finding out where you just mentioned, then they can use the email that's under your name on the screen and get more information from
Please
there and
do.
all the details.
Yes, ma'am, and we'll gladly fax to them a copy of the application form that they have to fill out and instructions of what they need to do.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I myself participated in another event that was similar to that in Alexandria, Louisiana. It was not for the veterans, it was for another good cause. And I found to my amazement that somebody had purchased a brick in honor of my mother at that time for that event. So I think this is wonderful. It's a way to be one of those building, one of those stones to something much better. Well, my little grandson goes out to that park on a regular basis and feeds the ducks and chases the ducks. And I want you to know that I hear so many people saying, you know, that they're excited to be there. And you would think right now it's plain compared to some of the parks out there, but it's going to get even better. But it has so much traffic.
Yes, it does.
It's amazing to sit there and see just how many people visit this park. Then I find out that you're going to be doing some possible fundraisers in the future, and different people are wanting to get on board for that.
Well, we're hoping that they do, because one thing, especially during this current conflict that we're having in our country, most people, you know, they say, okay, acts of terrorism, this is what the war is about, this and that. However, most people don't realize that Lafayette lost one of its very own service members in 1983 during the
Wow.
bombing of the Lebanon bombing, where we lost 283 Marines.
Wow.
So Memorial Day, May of next year, we hope to have a monument there to dedicate to those Acadiana veterans who lost their lives through acts of terrorism. Now, granted, the young men and women who lost their lives in the current conflict is actually because of terrorism, but they have a conflict name. Those people don't. We lost a retired colonel in the Pentagon on 9/11, and we lost Lex Trahan in 1983. So we want to recognize those two and anyone else who has lost their lives through acts of terrorism, but not as a conflict like we have going now.
Well, as we are nearing the end of the show, I would like to go ahead and reach out to the audience and just say, if you would like more information, then you check out his email and you send in that question, and he'll be glad to get back with you. Meanwhile, is there anything that we have not covered at this time that perhaps you might want to cover, Rudy,
Well-
other than a revamp of why we are here?
You know that one of our sister cities, Abbeville, is doing a dedication of their post office, and it's going to be named after a Navy Cross Marine, Saturday at 9:30.
Wow, and this is taking place where?
Saturday in Abbeville on the I-14 bypass
And that
at the
date
new
is?
post office, Saturday morning, which is going to be
22nd.
22nd of September. So, and we want all veterans to come out, or family members, or just anyone who wants to see how a veteran pays proper tribute and respect to its fallen comrades. This is a good day to come out there and see.
Well, does your organization have a webpage, or is it just strictly by email that we'll be able to get hold to you?
Right now, it's by email, but myself and our finance officer is working on a webpage for our American Legion Post.
Okay. Well,
And
there
you'll be the
you.
first to get it.
All right, you promise. You
I do promise.
Okay. He keeps his promises. Well, you have been watching Louisiana Heartbeats, and I'm Sudie Landry, and today we had Rudy Bork Sr., who shared with us the story behind the folding of the American flag. And there were 13 reasons why. So tune in every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. It just might be you or Rudy that we are showcasing. Thank you.